This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
WeUseCoins.com.
What I want to talk about are essentially three things, and they're all Grafton-centric. I guess the real reason we're here is burning porcupine, which we'll get into. I want to touch on Grafton in general, and I also want to pimp a project I've been working on, the Free Grafton Embassy. So bear with me.
They're pulling. Go!
Burning porcupine is something that's been going on. This will be the 5th year. The first year we had a lot of people there, and we're trying to revive it. The gist of it is, it's in a field at a large farm, and it's not real regulated, and it's not a lot of things. You won't find things that you're finding here, like with agorist alleys and pony rides and all the rest of that stuff. What it really is just an opportunity to come to Grafton, tent for free, drive around, talk to people that live in Grafton. We generally have a larger population, like maybe on the Friday night, we'll have a large bonfire and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty laid back. It's really a plot on our part to get you to come check out Grafton and possibly stay. So why would you want to come to Grafton? Well, Grafton's got about 1,200 people. Some people say it's in the middle of nowhere, and some of us like it that way. We've had a pretty big effect, though, because if you're here at Pork Fest, you understand that we're trying to gather a large number of liberty-loving people in a small area in New Hampshire. Well, Grafton said, hey, that's a great idea. Why don't we do that even in more of a microcosm? Let's go to a small town that doesn't have a lot of regulation, and let's see what we can do there. So there's been a concentration of libertarian types in Grafton for several years, and they have had an effect in the system. So if that's your thing, in the system, I think the planning board is largely made up of libertarians. The fire department, the libertarian candidate for governor is the chief. The volunteer ambulance is largely manned by libertarians. And also in Grafton, again in the political situation, Tom is running for state rep, Jeremy Olson is running for state rep, and Bob Hull is running for state rep. So if you want to do in-the-system activism, you'd be more than welcome, and you'd find people who'd want to work with you there. As far as other types of things, it's rural, so there's no downtown. And in terms of services and so forth, you do have to drive a little bit. But again, I look at that as a positive for me because that's how I like to live. I'm going to touch on the Free Grafton Embassy, and then we'll move into burning pork, and I'll ask Tom a bunch of questions, and then I'll tell you I don't know. The Free Grafton Embassy, it sounds like it's this, it's not as big as the one that they're building over there in Iraq. It's a little smaller than that, but we're working on it. And what we're trying to do there is have a place where people can go when they're visiting, help sharing the cost, probably costs a couple bucks a day to use the internet, and we're going to have bunks and so forth. It'll be pretty rustic, and it's going to be full-time manned by, I think Jason Talley's going to be there. Evan and Shasta will be occupying the middle room, and it's just a place when you say, hey, what can I do? Well, we can go hang out there and be welcome and all that. We're going to try and do a little bit of free trade, things like that. We've had a hard time getting the internet set up so far, but it is coming, or that's what they tell me. So as far as any other activity, we would encourage people who have good ideas to come because that's what it's all about.
Bitcoins, the world's first practical internet cash. A nightmare for governments to try and control. Inflation and counterfeit resistant. They return you some control over your money. And a new measure of anonymity. A lot cheaper to use than PayPal. You can use them to buy tax-free cigarettes. And almost anything else. I accept Bitcoins. So can you. Get started at WeUseCoins.com.